This is Floridian Rollo. What's going on, everybody? I want to talk about corporate America and why it's not the same. They don't do things fabricated like they once did back in the 90s and the early 2000s. When you get into corporate America, what tends to happen is they do things when they want to do things and don't do things when they need to. They expect you to be on top of a lot of things, yet when it comes down to what they're supposed to do and they don't do it, you just have to walk away. You just have to walk away. We're going to listen to this clip of why a particular individual left a $150,000 corporate job after learning three things. And I'm going to see what he's talking about, and I'm going to tie into it, so let's hear it.
To start my professional career working for one of the biggest banks in Canada. At just 20 years old, I had to make the most defining choice of my life. Do I accept this job, knowing full well how much I hate it, but how much people will also respect and admire me for it? Or do I say no? And do I disappoint my boss, my friends, and my family? After a lot of thought, I said no. And it was the greatest decision of my life. Here are the three greatest lessons that I've learned since that happened. There are three things that you will never learn if you decide to work in a corporate job for the rest of your life. And the first one is who you are. Let me be clear. This video is not intended to take a shot at corporate workers. If you love your corporate job, good for you. But if there is even one slight piece of discontent in your job, this video is for you. We are living in a time where it is becoming normalized to accept things that make you unhappy and to just believe that that's life. But this is far from the truth. Before I continue, I want you to watch this. This is by far the biggest.
It's a lot of changes in these corporate entities. There's a lot of changes. And you could see it and it's not for you. So some people, you would say, oh, why would they not take it? Why they would not take that six-figure high earning? I mean, it's available to them. Anybody would love to be in that situation. Okay. We hear that a lot. Until you get into that situation, you realize it's not all canned up to be. It's no disrespect to people in corporate. It's just what it is. Let's go.
Biggest reason why you should always take a chance on yourself. What is a big mistake that you've made or a big regret that you have that has taught you a very valuable lesson in life?
For me, my biggest regret was I wanted to be an actor. That was my dream since I was in elementary school. I was in all the school plays, and I had a modicum of success when I was in my late teens, early 20s. I was sort of almost on the cusp of making it. I guess I got scared. I need to work. I need to support myself, obviously. I was the quintessential starving artist. I was sleeping on friends' couches. I was bartending. I was a server, whatever, doing what I had to do so I can go on auditions during the day. And I kind of gave up on that dream and got the typical corporate 9-to-5 job. And that's my biggest regret in my life, because that's all I've ever wanted to do was be an actor. And now I have some lame corporate job, and it's yeah, I can pay my rent and whatever, live, but what is the point at the end of the day?
In your life, on average, you will work 90,000 hours. That is, on average again, 1/3 of your total life expectancy. Unfortunately, most of us have decided to work in the wrong job. When I first got into university, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I just didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know who I was. Truthfully, I was going to.
You can't be in fear of the unknown. You definitely can't be in fear of the unknown, because once you accept something that is not of you and not of your essence, yeah, you putting yourself locked into something you don't want to be locked into. Let's continue.
Through a period in my life where things were super uncertain. I had just broken up with a girlfriend and I was very unstable. I didn't know what to do. And so everybody's opinion around me, all of a sudden.
Broken up with a lady. I mean, hey, you had to do what was right. So she Quinty didn't see your going passion. She walked away and you had to let her go. That's part of the process. Let's continue to see what he says.
sudden seem to have a lot more value. When you don't know who you are, it's very easy to become influenced by others and their opinions. I had never taken the time to properly think about what it is I wanted to be, what my purpose was, and things like that. Seems like people were making that decision for me. And I think that's how a lot of us end up in these jobs. My way out is similar to the way out for a lot of people. It's basically when a big decision is looming, that you got offered a contract, a promotion, maybe COVID flipped your life upside down, maybe you got a bonus that's coming up. For me, I got an email that was including a full-time contract to work at once I graduated university. I knew right then and there that this was going to be the biggest decision in my life. When you're faced with that, what do? For me, the answer was journaling. I was never someone who journaled a lot or was self-reflected a lot, at least not on paper. I would look up online different questions, self-reflection prompts, and I would write down those things on a piece of paper and then I would answer them. As I began to answer more and more and more of those prompts, I started to realize, okay, not only was I unhappy, but there was a reason for this unhappiness, and there were also things out there that would make me a lot happier that I wasn't doing. And that brings us to lesson number 2, which is actually figuring out what you want in life. So when I worked at the bank, my seat was on the trading floor, but I was as far away from the window as possible. The person who was sitting right next to me was also an intern. Him and I would chat every now and then about the job, about life, about just anything. And at some point, after I had started self-reflecting, I looked at him and I said, "Hey, why do you want this job?" And he turns to me and he tells me, "My mom and I, we immigrated from Algeria and she's been working 2 jobs to support us, and I want this job so I can make enough money so that my mom doesn't have to work that hard and that we can be comfortable." He said that and I looked at him and I realized right then and there, like, that's a fantastic reason to want to do this. Even if he wasn't thrilled at the prospect of what the job entailed, he had a greater purpose, and this.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's definitely nothing wrong with that. Props to him for doing that. You know what I'm saying? Definitely props to him for doing that.
Job served that purpose. And he asked me the same question. He said, "Why do you want this job?" And I looked at him and I didn't have an answer. I don't know why I would have wanted this job. I'm not sure. I couldn't answer that question. I took that conversation, I went home that night, and it was at that exact moment that I knew I was done. The lesson I learned here is that right then and there I figured out what I wanted in life, or at least what I didn't want. We need to speak to others to put our life into perspective. We are very good at believing things that other people tell us, but not believing in the things that we tell ourselves. And sometimes it takes speaking to a total stranger to remember what you actually want. Now, before heading into lesson 3, a quick note from the sponsor of today's video, Magical. Magical is a productivity tool that can be found on Google Chrome as an extension, and it's designed to help you reduce your busy work so that you can spend more time doing things that you love. When I started my podcast, I actually used Magical's LinkedIn scraping tool to find key people who I thought I'd really get along with.
Props to him for doing that. Props to him for having that conversation with the gentleman as an intern, and eventually he left and turned down, the money he was making, and more likely he's making more than $150,000 with his website and things that people are interested in, and so that's good. That's definitely good. Definitely good. So I want to say this, y'all. Keep your head on the swivel. Do your thing. Know that when you walk away from something, don't have no ill regret about it, because you know the decision is right. Even if it's a certain amount of money on the table and you walk away because you want to be in a place you want to be and not be in a place you don't want to be. And so with that said, like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Peace.